The Dandelion War was a series of conflicts surrounding the rapid expansion of the Republic of Bardonia after the dissolution of the Trillium Alliance in the wake of the Great Rathnir War, which was fought between the Trillium Alliance and the global coalition led by Imu Audel. The Bardonian Wars are dated as commencing with the announcement of Bardonian mobilization made by Chancellor Unicorn Boy on January 14, 2021. The Chancellor voiced Bardonian's ambition to unify all of Rathnir under a single banner of true peace. Hostilities were ceased on January 20th, when Bardonian officials declared that their world conquest to be over. One of the consequences of this war was the birth of the Third Bardonian Republic. The looting of Urnu Arak took place on January 17, 2021. The Council of Elders of Imu Audel refused to accept Tetsu as empress and elected Grey Izias as emperor instead, despite the terms of the peace deal of the Great Rathnir War stating that Tetsu was to ascend to the throne. Bardonia, citing a breach of the peace treaty as their reason, subsequently declared war on Imu Audel and laid siege to Urnu Arak only 8 days after the Battle of Urnu Arak ended the Great Rathnir War. The war was swiftly ended when Grey Izias was the only member of Imu Audel to participate in the war, was shot by Bardonian forces. In the night of January 17th to January 18th, multiple players using invisibility potions headed to the Bardonian capital, Dorstarok, and blew up various buildings as a means of guerrilla warfare. Shortly after the attack, Bardonian officials accused the industrial workers of Rathnir of being behind the attack, announcing that anyone involved will be executed and any nation or town they are part of will be annihilated. While the IWR feigned ignorance at first, they claimed responsibility for the attack on January 20th. The announcement stated that the IWR intends to keep sponsoring such attacks and that Bardonia should expect more attacks in the future. On January 17th, Dexog of the Last Bastion declared a lands war on Escharian town, likely Lilin. Escharian Emperor Emeritus Siegfried von Ashpash responded to this by denouncing the declaration as an aggression from a Bardonian. Dexog stated that Escharia has done nothing but antagonize me for my entire time on the server. I have been a Bardonian for only a little while, and this would have been coming regardless of Bardonia. Mark my words, Escharia will be mine. Scorched and ash, or regal and tall, it will be mine. I'll rule coals and pebbles if I have to. Blood for the blood god, baby. Due to the negligence of crucial documents regarding the war declaration by Dexog, he had to declare a second time on January 19th. From January 18th to January 19th, Bardonia faked a series of civil wars in their nation. This was done to prevent outside powers from attacking a city using the land system, stating this: Bardonia vs Dorstarok, Neos Knossos vs Lobopolis, Oran's Peak vs New Dorstarok, Askovol vs Volcor, Drifting Isles vs Vude's Island. Confirm both sides have 2 to 3 days worth of upkeep. Take turns declaring war on each other. The offender can't declare war twice, but the defender can declare right after. Make sure to insert upkeep before declaring war and make sure the other party is online and ready. Use fake civil wars to give us protection from terrorists. Unicorn Boy, January 19th. The Battle of Azinjaford was a conflict in the Bardonian Wars. On January 18th, 2021, the Sorvian Empire announced that they had done a sacrifice to the blood god and received a message telling all those who witnessed the ceremonial event the Sorvian Empire is the holy successor of the Valdry Imperial Republic. They further announced their ambition to reconquer former VIR territory, starting with Azinjaford, a protectorate of the Escharian Empire. The announcement was initially met with scorn from former enemies of the VIR, but it was also opposed by some of its former members who wanted to defend their now independent nations. The Republic of Posavaria, itself a former territory of the VIR, announced their intention to defend Azinjaford and prevent the Sorvian Empire from continuing its conquest. It was quickly discovered that the Sorvian had private ties to high-ranking Bardonian officials and that Bardonians would be sending soldiers to assist their friends. Many nations not allied to Bardonia suspected the Sorvian conquest of Azinjaford to be a proxy war orchestrated by Bardonia to further their expansionist agenda. Subsequently, multiple nations condemned Soviet aggression and pledged support to the defenders of Eisenhower. The Republic of Posovaria and the Soviet Empire briefly negotiated in an attempt to resolve the conflict through diplomacy. Posovaria requested Soviet give up their claims to Posovari territory and realign with a regional alliance instead of Bardonia. Soviet refused and offered Posovaria to become protectorate of their empire. Peace talks were subsequently abandoned. Due to a conflicting schedule, Emperor D3BI of Escharria was unable to take part in the battle. Expecting this to lower the morale of Escharrian troops, they sought to postpone the battle. Soviet was unwilling to do so, but offered to keep Bardonian forces out of the battle if D3BI would not participate. Soviet and Bardonia were condemned as dishonorable warriors by many nations and likely agreed to this in order to prove themselves as honorable. The belligerent parties agreed to the following terms of the war. Number 1. Allies are permitted to participate in the fighting. Number 2. Foreign volunteers are permitted to participate in the fighting. Number 3. The use of invisibility is permitted. Number 4. Mercenaries are not permitted to participate in the fighting. Number 5. The use of end crystals as a means of combat is prohibited. Number 6. Unnecessary destruction of structures and theft of foreign equipment is prohibited. And number 7. Neither Bardonia nor D3BI will participate in the fighting. Shortly before the battle, members of the Crescent Concordant, of which Posovaria was a part, joined the defenders, believing Soviet and Bardonia to threaten the openly anti-Bardonian alliance. On the 19th of January 2021, the Soviets attacked from the northeast of Eisenhower. The initial Soviet assault was repelled by the defenders, and the attackers were chased back to their siege tower. Following another short skirmish, the Soviets were killed, their beds were broken, and the siege camp was cleared out. Having won the initial engagement, the defenders returned to the city to wait for the official conclusion of the war. Not long after the siege camp had been eliminated, Soviet leaders began to claim that the defenders had broken the terms of war by hiring mercenaries. The defenders responded with confusion, not understanding what these allegations were referring to. Soviet did not explain their allegations and invited their Bardonian allies to join the battle on their side. This caused outrage among the defenders, who complained that Soviet was violating the terms of war. Bardonia led the next assault on the city, quickly breaching the defenses and killing all the defenders, breaking all their beds and eliminating the entire defense. While the defenders of Eisenhower successfully defended against initial attacks, the final result of the conflict was another crushing defeat against Bardonia. Many of the defenders refused to surrender Eisenhower to Soviet, claiming that Soviet had not followed the initial agreement, thereby voiding the results of the battle. Additionally, many defenders believed that they had actually won the battle, and that Bardonian interference after the initial defeat of Soviet was to be disregarded. However, when Soviet threatened to repeatedly attack Eisenhower and raze the city if it was not ceded to them, the caretaker of Eisenhower yielded. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please subscribe, leave a like, it's free and you can easily unsubscribe later. And I'll see you in my next one. Peace out and goodbye.